Greetings, family. Hello. Thank you for joining us for this live broadcast. We are happy to see you. We are excited to be with you in this live. Remember, we have been having live streams this week. We had like two, I think two, not three. And power did bad things to us. We had problems with internet because it's raining. It's raining here in the East Africa, and many things that just didn't go well. But remember, at first we talked about the meeting that happened in Munich Security Conference, and they are trying to hide a lot of things because Munich Security Conference and Munich, security, even food security, they are talking about food security. But we were more alarmed by what Marco Rubio said, the State Secretary of the US said about the pride in their culture of colonizing others, and taking what they don't own. And we talked about that, and at the same time, we said a meeting was being held in Ethiopia. That is the African Union Summit, 39th African Union Summit, where we saw Mahama shining. And Bro talked a lot of good things. He talked a lot of things about reparations, being recognized, the slave trade being recognized as the worst humanitarian, what can you say, humanitarian, it was the worst humanitarian evil that ever happened, you know. And I wish they even added colonization because it was part of slavery, because we are not taking slaves out, but they are taking their lands, the people's land, and using the people for labor in a slaving way. So it was also part of slavery, and he talked about it. And there are a lot of things that came after that, because we talked about how Mahama is doing wonderful things. He said no moving out of raw materials. He said they are going to by buying their own cocoa. Actually, even people asked in the chat, yes, in the chat, and if you're in the chat, let us know what you think, and also join us. And people asked because the African chocolate market or cocoa market has not been developed so well. Who will be buying this cocoa? And we have to be optimistic, because if we don't grow our businesses, we have seen a lot of, we talk about chocolate, we talk about Cadbury in Africa, but they make them in Europe and send the expensive chocolate here. But we have Ghanaian, Ghanaian, Ghanaians. How do you say it? Ghanaians who have started small chocolate businesses, although it's very difficult because you are not allowed, and you've seen what am I talking about it. You're not allowed to buy or to sell cocoa to local people. You're supposed to go out there and sell to the white man. But you know what? There are people who are pushing beyond the borders and making their own branch in South Africa, in many parts of African countries. And that's what Malhama is talking about. You see what they did with the gold board? And now even the city is rising. That's what we're talking about. Continuing that, because our live stream just ended abruptly because of problems with network. We didn't finish talking about Muhammad, but he's doing great. Although there's one full thing that we'll talk about, where we saw this week that is ending today, we saw people talking about the French troops, training the Ghanaians troops how to fight. We'll see about that. But before we move on, let's see what has been happening. And I'll put myself in a corner is we talk about this. So Ghana has set a clear deadline. By 2030, no raw materials, not raw mineral ores will leave the country. Ghana is one of the biggest producer of gold. That's why the white man called it the Gold Coast. And he said this includes manganese, bauxite, and iron ore. So President Mahama stated that all minerals must be processed locally. The goal to add value, build stronger manufacturing, and create more jobs for young people. And it's happening with the gold board. And the policy supports industrialization and economic growth in Ghana. I bet you want to listen to what he's going to say in this very short Clip. This is what. You remember when we went to Zambia? People of Zambia laughed because of wearing this cloth, the Ghanaians fugu. Fugu, yeah, fugu. The Vakayan beautiful fugu, that's their traditional cloth. And the people of Zambia were saying that bro is wearing a dress or a skirt. I mean, come on, Africans. We know you joke a lot, but this was not a joke. But either way, this led to a lot of people knowing about the Ghanaians. We know about Kente. Kente, the real Kente, not what they are making in China and bringing to Africa. Just the colors and all that. The real Kente is very expensive. Actually, some goes up to you can buy for even $50,000. The real Kente. Then we go to learn about the Fugu. It has other names, but let me just say Fugu. And if you want to support Ghanaians, Fugu, buy the original Fugu. So we heard about that. And when there, he went to the parliament and he told them to stop giving foreigners the, you know, like, giving, we should stop giving the foreigners the rights to mine and give to the people of Ghana, the people of that country, that is Zambia, because we know not although there are a lot of artisans mining gold in Zambia, the big ones are the people from out. So Muhammad is doing great, and it's not just um, preaching water and drinking wine. He's drinking wine and preaching wine. Yeah, that's why he's encouraging the people of Zambia to do this, to stop giving these rights, mining rights to other people. And now we're seeing that they are doing some beautiful things with Burkina, where Burkina Faso and Ghana have signed a security and trade cooperation accords. This followed talks between Burkina Faso Prime Minister Rimtaba John Emmanuel Ouedraogo and Ghanaian delegation led by Foreign Minister Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa. Key deals include mutual recognition of driving licenses to ease movement of people and goods. So if you're from Ghana going to Burkina Faso, you don't need that, you know, what is it called? You don't need that international driving license. No, you can just use your own driving license. Cross-border cooperation framework, joint disaster response mechanisms, collaboration against drug trafficking, enhanced security cooperation, intelligence sharing, training, and counter-terrorism coordination. And that's where we are seeing our brother without history saying Ghana is now negotiating a security framework agreement with Burkina Faso following an unusual terrorist attack in the north of Ghana. This is huge. You see the way there are problems of terrorism in Ghana, even in the northern, no, in Burkina Faso. You see that the way there are problems of terrorism in Burkina Faso. The same is happening in the north of Ghana. It's crazy. It's very crazy, and you have to believe this. It's the same way because there's no these people cross the borders so that they can hide. And the people of Ghana on the side of Ghana, northern Ghana, are very, very active in fighting these people. So they need weapons and all that. But maybe you don't hear about a lot of this, but it's happening. That's why Ghana is negotiating a security framework agreement with Burkina Faso. And I think that is a good thing, among others. And Burkina Faso and Ghana have taken a new step in strengthening the strategic partnership. And this is a very good development because on top of the security, we have seen the cross-border cooperation, driving licenses, establishment of a joint disaster management mechanism, and fight against drug trafficking. These people are brothers, right? It's same people who are cut across, and now it became Gold Coast and the Upper Volta, but now it's Burkina Faso and Ghana. Same people, same Africans. We don't need same brothers and sisters. We don't need these things about closing our borders for our brothers and sisters. So let us know in the chat, what do you think, and in the comment section if you're watching after, what do you think about this amazing operation between Burkina Faso and Ghana? And remember, all these things have been influenced by Traore. And then Mahama comes. Mahama was always supporting Traore. And remember, this reminds me of Cote d'Ivoire, and when we were voting, of course, Ouattara would not have left. But we have the former president of Ivory Coast, who was moved by the French military. His name is let me see, I'm forgetting the name. Yeah. Laurent Gbagbo, yes. So Laurent Gbagbo was also supporting the AES. And if it happened that Laurent Gbagbo became the president, that was last year, I'm sure he would be doing what Mahama is doing. But either way, we hope the next time that our brothers in Ivory Coast or Cote d'Ivoire fight, they'll fight to have someone who does good for them. And we go now to Burkina Faso, where breaking news is the first phase of the works of the Ouagadougou-Bobo-Dioulasso highway has been completed. Imagine, I think it's less than 2 months since Ibrahim Traore launched it. I think it was in January. And these people, in the first phase, I think they have like 3 phases. I'm not very sure, but 3 phases. And imagine the whole road is 300 kilometers. And under the exceptional leadership of Ibrahim Traore, the first phase of clearing the road for building the 300-kilometer highway between Ouagadougou to Bobo-Dioulasso has been completed in 52 days. And this will be a big road. I think it's 4 lanes on both sides. It's a huge infrastructure. And in 52 days, first phase, they have completed clearing. Tells you by the end of 2026, this road will be complete. That's how Ibrahim Traore works. That's how you manage to hear he has done a lot of things. A tomato processing plant, huge hospital, I think with a capacity of like 5,000 beds, gold refinery processing plant. I mean, a lot of things. So this is how he works. And I'm telling you, these guys are going far. They're going far because they have good leaders. Actually, a good leader who also employs good leaders and is moving forward, ensuring that, he's doing service to his people. When others are eating and marrying and taking trips to Dubai and Europe and wherever, this guy is working for the people. I think this is very good. Let us know what you think about this. So the last time we asked you, Mahama has started. Who else would be influenced? And Mahama went to Zambia and he talked about it. But now we said the little fire that Mahama has gotten from Ibrahim Traore, the 8 years, he's lighting it, and we are hoping that someone else will grab that fire and run away and go to their country and lit it, and it's spreading across Africa. And even if these people are kind of planning on recolonizing Africa, something that we'll see as we go on, imagine there are people who are fighting for us. Imagine there are people who are fighting for us. And now the Zambian president is taking the fire. Like we are saying, the Zambian president has started grabbing that little fire and lighting it. And our brother Joe is saying, we the people of Africa need action from our leaders, not written notes or speeches. We need factories, refineries, and infrastructures for us to process our resources and energy as much as it gives us employment. So we listen to our Zambian president. What is he saying?
I'm sure you know that now the African continent has awakened. I'm just from the AU, and we're speaking one language now, that we cannot continue exporting raw materials for centuries. We cannot. And we will not, and we don't want those discussions that lead us into that. We want discussions that lead us into extension, into extraction, responsive extraction, and we'll get to that a little bit later, but also to process, to value add, and that will add growth to our economies, to add jobs, to add business opportunities, and more importantly, to add...
Zambian President Hakainde Hichilema sat across from UNCTAD Secretary-General Rebecca Grinspan and said what every African leader should have been saying decades ago. He told her, plainly and without apology, that Africa is done exporting raw materials, done watching its copper, cobalt, lithium and gold leave its soil only to return as finished goods priced beyond its own people's reach. The room went quiet. Because when an African president speaks with that kind of clarity and confidence, the usual script falls apart. Hichilema made it clear. The continent is now speaking one language, one vision. Every citizen, from the rural farmer to the urban worker, must feel Africa's mineral wealth in their daily lives. Not foreign shareholders, not Western processing plants. Africans. This is the economic sovereignty conversation that changes everything, for Zambia, for the continent, for the next generation. And he wasn't finished. There is more he revealed that has rattled corridors of power far beyond Geneva. Let us now play the footage. Watch carefully what unfolds here.
First and foremost, we want to really express our gratitude that you chose to visit us at this time. We believe that time is now for us to advance certain conversations beyond our traditional partnerships, which we appreciate a lot. The work that we do with your local office, the work that we do with yourselves collectively, and if I may say, other UN agencies and cooperating partners. Where we sit, this government, since we took office, is a government of reforms, and also believing that reforms deliver results. I think we have demonstrated that reforms deliver results in many ways.
Wow, you know, that's something that you never expected to come from the Zambian president. But you know, Mahama visited him some few weeks ago, and this is the fire that he left in Zambia. So when we say that this fire is spreading, and it will spread. And remember the three guys that you're seeing at the screen below President of Zambia, Chilema, Hakainde Chilema. Remember, these people are planning on making sure that we live at the bottom of it, that they keep plundering our resources, they keep taking raw materials. Like, for example, hasn't the US made a huge deal with Congo? But how is Congo today? Congo is a mess. People don't even know they have minerals sometimes. They only hear it maybe online or on some news. But that's the Africa we live in. Like, we are giving out everything. But now Hakainde Hichilema actually is saying, I'm just coming from the AU and we talked about this. So this fire from Ibrahim Traore, Koita Asimi, and Abdurrahman Tiani, that fire which these guys have lit, which spread into Ghana, has now moved into the minds of African leaders. Okay, some or most will not be able to do it, but this fire, we have seen this fire somewhere across the continent in Madagascar. Now we are seeing it somewhere in Southern Africa, and I'm sure this fire is growing. So Hakainde Hichilema did good to go tell them openly that we are planning on doing this. We are planning on fighting back because we know what we went to and why what you are planning. But you know what, we are planning on fighting back, and I think the fire is going well. But now we have some things that are happening that are like, who are these people? What is happening? Because we saw them talking during the Munich Security Conference. Now, after severe economic crisis, the EU now promises to respect the sovereignty of Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger, as well as the rules they will set for their strategic resources. At the same time, France remains singled out for its destabilizing actions in the Sahel. The AES affirms its determination to control its wealth and defend its autonomy. But isn't France a part of the EU? Of course, they will say we want to follow, okay, we respect your sovereignty, right? And we want to work up with your terms, right? But remember, they still want to come back. And they have talked somewhere and said, we want to colonize them, to recolonize them in a way. So here we have the EU saying we want to do this, we want to work under your own terms. Then we have the US saying we want to normalize our relations. We saw them in Burkina Faso and we were like, hey, what is happening? We also saw them in Niger. Then remember, we have their leaders saying we want to bring back the empire that was. So what is happening? The EU has returned. Okay, it's returning diplomatically. Okay, they have agreed to work with the AES on the AES terms, which amongst other include respect for sovereignty, fair mineral deals that benefit the African people in return for smooth partnership and trading relations. But remember, we heard Thomas Sankara saying, your oppressor cannot be your friend. Remember that, right? Your oppressor cannot be your friend. So when they say we work up on your own terms, we are seeing our brothers and sisters in the Sahel, that is the AES, loosening up. Like this is Mali government extending Barrick's mining permit for the Lulo-Gomokoto gold complex for an additional 10 years, and the Malian terms that the corporation could capitulate. The decision follows the resolution of a prolonged dispute between Mali and Barrick of a new mining code, stipulations, and operational control. As part of the agreement, Barrick dropped its legal claims at the World Bank and Mali reinstated control of the site to the company under its new mining code. The company pays outstanding debts of close to $1 billion to the Malian state. So a feasibility study conducted by Barrick supports further mining for 6 years with open pit methods and 16 years underground. So brother is saying this is how you gain sovereignty from this imperialist. Okay, I think this is good because they are coming under the new policy. It's okay, but I hope they won't be stealing. They won't be doing some crazy things like, we have seen before, where the areas with minerals are terrorists so that the minerals can be stolen. Then at the same time, we saw Niger. Tiani announces partial return of uranium to France. So Nigerian President Abdurrahman Tiani said in a televised interview relayed by RFI that Niger is ready to return some of the uranium extracted by Orano to France before Niamey takes over the mine completely. He said France owns 63.4 of 156,231 tons. If they want us to send this quantity to them, we will take care of the transportation because they were present at the time of production, the head of state said. He, on the other hand, insisted whatever was produced afterwards is Nigerian and will remain Nigerian. The statement comes in the context of the negotiation of mining contracts and the phased back of the national control of the country's strategic resources. You see, these things are all coming, but they are laying flat. We can see what is happening from the EU saying we are going to respect your sovereignty, we are going to, cooperate under your own terms, to our countries accepting to slowly to do, to accept these corporations. We were like, no, for sometimes let us not accept what they bring, and let us look for other people, our own people, for example, or if it's not our own people, the East, China, Russia, and all that, and it's all been going well. Remember, we will talk about now France owning this amount of 63.4%, which is a lot. And Tiani is like, we are going to send this quantity to them. My question is, are they going to pay for it? That is the question. Are they going to pay for it? I don't know. Previously, we knew that they used to buy a kilo of uranium for $0.8, when in the global market it's 200. I think euros, not dollars, euros per kilo. And then they will print the money and keep their reserves. So they used to take the uranium free. what will happen this time? Let us know in the chat. Let us know in the comment section if you're watching this later. Let us know, what do you think? Will France pay for this 63.4% of 156,231 tons, not kilograms, tons of uranium? We will know that there's been a problem of power, there's been problem, the economic problem of France, because the US countries said no. But you see what is happening in Mali and Niger. So let's see. So when asked what they think, one of the Nigerian economists said, unlike France, Niger has not been educated in the sense of plunder and theft. That's what a Nigerian economist said. His name is Salifu Ibrahim Bako, and declared to Sputnik Africa regarding Abdurrahman Tiani's decision to return to France its share of the 63.4% of uranium held by Somalia. That's the Somalia mine. Niamey refuses to follow Paris' path, which has not been honest in the sharing for years, insists the president of Niger, of the Niger Uni Federation. You see, that's what a Nigerian economist is saying. Like, we are not thieves. But the question is it stealing? Because this mineral is yours, you know. They are the ones who have been stealing from you. So is this stealing? Are they stealing from you? But Tiani is like, okay, I'll give it to them. Maybe that's why they are bitter. But after that, we have to go according to her. You know what I think? I think, okay, let me say they know better. But if it were me, I would have just done the maths. Like, you started mining from this time, this is the amount of uranium that you have obtained. Or of course what you showed us, or what is on record, because we don't know how much you took, which was not recorded. And out of this uranium, this is how much you owe us, or we owe you. Then after that, you know, can we say goodbye to each other? Otherwise, when you say, okay, I'll give you what you want, you mean like you're getting soft, bro. Come on, Diani. Are you getting soft? Guys, let us know what you think about this in the chat. Yeah, that is Salif Ibrahim Bako speaking to Sputnik. Okay, away from that, last week we learned that the first batch of 200 US troops have arrived in Nigeria, Borno State, against the backdrop of US Secretary of State Rubio veneration of colonialism of the African continent. Actually, not just the African continent, the global south, because he was talking about expanding the empire as it was. You know, the empire as it was, what that means. So, you know what happens anytime, and I want you to learn this if you didn't know. When the imperialists want to gain something from us, from the global south, they start with propaganda. Okay, like for example, let's talk about Venezuela. They said the president of Venezuela is a narco terrorist, like he's allowing the supplies of drugs to the US, right? The next moment, even before you talked about this, they are talking about the illegal oil that is coming from Venezuela to other countries being sanctioned. So they'll go and take that oil. They act like pirates. Then they come and take the president, and now the country is theirs. The same way is happening in Nigeria. They talked about Christians being massacred and a lot of other things. But we saw Nigeria invading Benin. Why? And bombing Benin. Why couldn't they do that to their, terrorists? So it's not in the, I don't know what we can say, but no boomer stuff. I don't know. But people, there are allegations that it's controlled by France and by US, so we don't know. But the thing is, it started this way, and a lot of people talked about it. Nigerians celebrated. The next moment, these guys, the boots are in the soil now, and they are here to train the Nigerian military. I don't know what, in fighting terrorists. They actually, before this, they had bombed Nigeria, some villages out there, saying they are bombing terrorists and all that. It's crazy. But finally, they are here. I know some people of Nigeria, some Nigerians, our brothers and sisters, are very happy. Yeah, but this is something you could have done, like the AES is doing it. I mean, Nigeria is so huge compared to Burkina, and Burkina is doing it by just themselves. Nigeria is the richest country in Africa. Okay, we can say after Congo. But when we talk about oil, it's actually the biggest economy in Africa, right? Nigeria. So you can do it. You have great people. You have someone like Dangote who's moving the oil value chain alone, not just for Africa, it's Africa and Europe. So I think Nigeria could have done better, but now it all falls back to the leader, who is Tinubu, and he's 90 years old. So we understand maybe he's not the one leading. There are some people behind the back. So we don't know what will happen to Nigeria soon, but all the best, my brothers and sisters in Nigeria. This is the craziest thing we ever expected to see. Although it's happening in the east of Africa, this is more crazier. Anyway, we move on. Then we saw something else. Remember Mali and Algeria has been at, you know, fighting, like it's that diplomatic. And this happened because it seems like Algeria is supporting some faction of terrorists that are pillaging Mali. And I remember sometimes, like 2 years ago, they came to Uganda and they had this non-aligned countries meeting. And that's why all this started, because Mali was like, we are leaving that um, contract that we did with you guys. We are getting out. We are not with you, because it's like you guys are supporting this. And later we saw them, even the Algerian government, drop, dropping down a Malian drone. And the allegations were this drone was going to Tinzawa Tenet to, do something to terrorists. And Algeria has been supporting. So they all fell out, and we saw Niger, which had very good cooperations with Algeria, even when Tinubu wanted to invade Algeria and Mali. Algeria was part of the guys who say you don't try that because we are going to support Niger. So they had good relations. But now with the AS Confederation, we saw even Niger coming to say, don't do this to my brother. We don't do this. So can you do something? And we have cancelled everything. Take your diplomatic guys, your ambassador and all that. But now we saw Abdurrahman Tiani going to Algiers to meet the president, Tibun. And Tibun welcomed Tiani to Algiers to launch Trans-Saharan gas pipeline. The Nigerian President Abdurrahman Tiani arrived in Algeria for 2 day official visit and was welcomed by Abdelmajid Tebboune. The two heads of state announced the relaunch of Trans-Saharan gas pipeline, as well as a major strengthening of security cooperation in the Sahel. And this includes energy security sovereignty, a strategic Algiers-Niamey axis that could reshape the region's energy and security balance. Good for them, good for them. But remember, there has been a problem with Mali. So this people started talking about this because there's the AES configuration. We have Mali, and our brother was saying, contrary to some speculation, Algiers is not seeking to use Niger to destabilize Mali, but rather to reopen a channel of dialogue with Bamako. Niamey position in this struggle is known, clear and assumed, and if General Tiani succeeds in fostering common ground between Mali and Algeria in favor of Sahel stability, it would be a major step forward for the entire region. So let us respect the peoples. Let us not systematically see betrayal where there may exist a genuine will to appeasement. But from my side, I still have some doubts. So Tebboune, that is the president of Algeria, affirmed the readiness of Algeria to make available to African countries evidence and documents attesting crimes committed during the colonial period as part of an approach to historical truth and memorial justice. It was worth noticing that following the downing of Mali drone in 2024, Algeria has sought to amend ties with AS following isolation, and General Tiani was invited to Algeria, and with agreement from his AS colleagues, he attended. So this guy, Tiani, attends, and we also saw them consolidating Algeria and Burkina Faso consolidating their strategic rapprochement, where on February 13th, just 2 weeks, actually exactly a week ago, in Ouagadougou, we saw the technical delegations of the two states endorsing the foundations of an ambitious partnership focused on mining, energy, and hydrocarbons. This new momentum is reflected in an investment program estimated at 50 billion CFA for a period 2026 to 2028, that is 2 years, and the objective is to modernize infrastructure, strengthen local expertise, and accelerate the on-site processing of natural resources. So this is Algeria and Burkina Faso. Immediately after that, we saw Algeria dispatching its Minister of Energy, accompanied by a significant delegation of business leaders to Burkina Faso in an effort to revitalize relations following their deterioration after an incident involving a Malian reconnaissance drone near the Algerian border. And we also saw Algeria planning an estimated investment of nearly $100 million to bolster the mining of hydrocarbons sectors in Burkina. Well, good for them. I think that could be very good if, we are not very different. Although what differentiates us is the notions that we have been given to think like you people are so different. But remember, we saw, I think, MLK or Malcolm X visiting Algeria, and that's when they talked about the Muslim Brotherhood because they saw something they never seen before. So we also saw Mali's new ambassador, Brigadier General Mohamed Amagadolo, getting ready to resume his duties this week. So Army General Abdurrahman Tiani played the role of mediator to strengthen good neighborhood relations and fraternal links that have existed between Mali and Algeria for centuries. The role played by Mali in the Algeria War of Independence illustrates a perfect example. So in this momentum, we can say the war axe has been buried. Throughout the history of mankind, conflicts between states have always been resolved at the diplomatic table and not gunpoint. So I think it's good. It's good that these people are, coming together. But there is always a buried hatchet because if Algeria was fighting Mali in the years, it was very easy for the enemies, and you know who I'm talking about, to infiltrate and use Algeria for this. And our brother Cecile is saying high-level talks in Algeria have resulted in a major reset. France and Algeria are reviving full security cooperation, including intelligence sharing, judicial coordination, policing collaboration, and more. Algeria's strategic position with long shared borders with Mali and Niger makes it perfect intelligence gateway for Africa. For France's new Africa strategy, no more boots on the ground needed. This follows French Interior Minister Laurent Nunez's recent visit to meet President Tebboune after 18 months of strained ties. Is this a clever move by Paris or proof that the Sahel is rewriting rules? What do you think, guys? This is just after that meeting with the Tiani. Now they met with French Interior Minister. What do you think? What do you think, brothers and sisters? What is happening? Like Algeria is burying the hatchet with Mali and the AES, right? Then at the same time, they're even releasing files of the worst things that France do in colonialism, right? Yeah. So is to make available to African countries evidence and document attesting crimes committed during the colonial period. You see, then just a few days later, that's when we are now seeing these guys meeting with French Interior Minister Laurent Nunez. And what do you think? Is this a clever move by Paris or a proof that the Sahel is doing something? Because for me, this really gave me chills. This really gave me chills. But what can we do? We only trust these three guys, our AES leaders, the leaders who lit the fire that will ban imperialism and puppetry in Africa, that will wake up the Africans, our young brothers and sisters, who, together with us, will fight this imperialism and forge our future. We also have this where the African Development Bank will lend 2.5 billion to Algeria for the construction of the Trans-Saharan Railway project that will link Algeria to Niger. So they have the gas project and the railway. The railway will be funded by the African Development Bank, AFD. We say AFDB, African Development Bank, AFD. Yeah. So I mean, this is good for Niger because we all want rails, right? It's good for development. Going forward, we are seeing Tiani announcing that the joint military force of the AES has increased from 5,000 to 6,000 soldiers. The reinforcement comes as Burkina, Mali, and Niger continues to confront serious security challenges across the region. And by the way, they know this is their strength. They need to increase their military, strengthen their military because they know that to be fought, you are being fought by using proxies. People who are your brothers and sisters are being used to fight you. And how do you fight? You need military because these guys used to say, and I think Ibrahim Traore is the one who used to say that when he became president, there was only 400 AK-47 across the whole country. Guns bought in the 1980s. The terrorists have more strong, modern weapons, weapons with even AI. These people. And they have drones, and you guys have only 400 AK-47. So they need to strengthen their military. They need to buy planes, which we are seeing Burkina Faso buying. They need to buy drones, more drones and drones to fight these people. And that's why these people are not winning. Because if you think you have more modern weapons, we have more modern than you. So that's why these guys continue to win. And here we are seeing Burkina Faso buying 3 combat helicopters, and they are using their patriotic support fund. You know that fund where you can contribute? I don't know how you do. You contribute by the people of Burkina Faso. We have seen the local people even bringing some things, some construction materials to Fasomebo, the initiative that is building Burkina Faso. We have seen people even volunteering. We have seen people in the diaspora, fundraising to the Patriotic Support Fund. And our brothers and sisters are saying we have to change Burkina Faso because changing Burkina Faso will ensure that we will show the rest of Africa what we are made of. And not just the rest of Africa, the rest of the world. And when our brothers and sisters see that we can really change Africa, they'll be amazed. Guys, it's like what happened in just a few days ago, because these guys, the African leaders went to Ethiopia, right? Then after we saw the president of Turkey, Erdogan, coming to Ethiopia, and with his motorcade, we were able to see what is happening or what has been happening in Ethiopia. And you know what? We were amazed. This is not the Ethiopia that we knew, right? This is not the Ethiopia that we knew. I mean, it was a poor country and all that. A lot of things were happening that we never liked, but everybody was like, Ethiopia? Is this Ethiopia? Let me show you what I'm talking about. Like this is the industrial parks. You see, it's like this is nowhere you've seen in Africa. Then let's see, what is this? This uh, as Ethiopia cities gain global attention for the impressive urban development and natural beauty, several destinations are inviting us. Yeah, this is Ethiopia. This is Ethiopia, and what moved the people is 1990s. This is how Ethiopia looked like in the 1990s. Okay, this one. This was Ethiopia in the 1900s. Then boom, Ethiopia in 2026, and people are like, "What? This is not the Ethiopia that we do, right?" And it shocked them. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. That is Ethiopia. I mean, Addis Ababa has become a city that people are not expecting, because what these people did is they just shut up and they just did their things. They just did their things and waited until people are like, wow, this is Ethiopia? Because they worked there, and look at this. Look at this beautiful, beautiful intersection, Ethiopia. I'm like, wow, is this really Ethiopia? Look at that road. And what they have done is they have the vehicle lanes, they have the bikes and motorbike lanes, and they have the walking lanes, for the people. And when you look at it, the way this is at night, and the way you see it, so beautiful. And people are not supposed to walk on the lane which is for bikes. You see, like that bike guy moving around. And the motorbikes, the bikes are not supposed to go where people are walking. So it's so well planned, and it's beautiful. It's so beautiful. And remember, they are planning on building the biggest international airport. Wow, it's so beautiful. So moving on, we saw the president of Madagascar. You remember, Michael Randrianiriana, going to Russia. Yes, guys, Michael Randrianiriana shocked us, because this guy has been quiet, and we're like, ooh, Michael Randrianiriana, what happened? Huh? What happened, bro? I mean, you took the government and now you're quiet. What is happening in Madagascar? Madagascar is like that island out of Africa, and nobody is talking about it. And even anything happens, we don't even know about it. And the former president, the guy who was checked out, went to France, and he has a French citizenship, which is crazy. So, like 2 days ago, we saw my country and Rihanna going to Russia, and he met Putin. And this is what they talked about, because Russia is ready to increase its agricultural exports to Madagascar. It's what the Minister of Agriculture said. This includes poultry and cereals. Moscow announced following talks between the Russian and Malagasy ministers concerned ahead of the Putin-Randrianirina meeting. Other promising areas of partnership include trade in mineral fertilizers on the Malagasy market, sharing of scientific advances in seed production, and training of agricultural personnel. They are talking so much of agriculture. I think he's following the footsteps of Ibrahim Traore on food self-sovereignty. Food sovereignty, food security, food self-sovereignty. And this is what Putin said, that Russia and Madagascar have good prospects for strengthening their relations, including political ones. And he assured that Moscow is ready to develop humanitarian ties with the island nation, as well as to cooperate with the United Nations. Beautiful, Putin never disappoints. And what are people saying? What are people saying? What are people saying? Okay, not a lot. Okay. Then we saw Randrianrina on his part saying Madagascar is ready to begin a new phase of cooperation with Russia. Beautiful. The country is also willing to develop a partnership, the president declared during a meeting with Vladimir Putin and the Kremlin. And Antananarivo intends to develop its relations with Russia in all areas, including social, health, energy, and military sectors. That's what he said. And good thing about Madagascar, it's not like the AES. This country has not been ravaged by insecurities. It's good. They are not terrorists and all that. So it's different. Maybe what they need to talk about or on what the cooperation that they need more, like as you've said, energy, military. They need to start with energy. Then they need to go back home and produce more food, mine their minerals, process them locally, nuclear energy, all that. They need Russia for that, and they think it's beautiful, and also China. But there's something that shocked many because there are news that came that after Moscow, Michael Randrianrina is expected in Paris, where he will be received by Emmanuel Macron. Come on, man. Don't do this, bro. No way. No, 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 no. Hey, don't do this. I mean, you have become the president of Senegal. Okay, if you do this, because this is France Afrique media, would they be saying lies? Would they be talking lies? I don't know. But if it's true, this will be another Jamaifa, the Senegalese president. This is what he did. Now people never expected. Like we never expected. But if this is it, then come on, man. Are you betraying the young Africans who know you are a great guy? Anyway, let's see, brothers and sisters. Let's see what will happen in a few days. Good thing is he went to Russia, and we are hoping that we'll be getting good deals from there. Let us know in the chat. Let us know in the comment section if you're watching this after our live stream. Let us know what you think, because I think we need more of east than west. Because right now, what never comes out of my head is what Marco Rubio said. I mean, that thing will never leave my head. And the crazy thing is, we are seeing. Let me show you. Let me show you what we are seeing. Let me show you what we are seeing. Okay, look at this. This is on the French TV CNews, and one of the panelists said this: "Forgive me, but recolonize this country in a certain way." Because she said we must recolonize Africa. I mean, it's up there. They are not hiding it. No, they are not hiding it. We must recolonize Africa. Then she says, "Forgive me, but recolonize these countries in a certain way, even if only economically." Economically, they've been doing it. And that's why the AES rose and said, "No, we are done with it. We will not take it anymore." So then the moderator and other panelists said, wow, Veronica, recolonize? Then withdraw the word recolonize first. Then she immediately said, okay, cooperation. So whenever you hear about cooperation, it's recolonizing. From today, this is me telling you, when you hear cooperation, oh, the US is having some cooperation with this country, that is another word for recolonize. You see? And this, you remember General Lecointre, who had said that they have to come back and recolonize Africa in the next 10 to 20 years? Boom! It's coming. It's coming. And our sister Natalie Yap said this. She said, what will happen in the next 2 to 4 years in Africa? You won't like it at all. You won't like it. So we need to have our eyes open. Ibrahim Traore said, he said black winter is coming. Brothers and sisters, this is not a joke. This is not a drill. You need to be very, very careful. This is not a drill. So when we are seeing corporations from the West, oh, Nigeria corporations, crazy. Like this, I talked about this when we started. This, what you are seeing in your screen. like where many Africans have expressed deep and probably legitimate concerns about Ghana and France troops undertaking jungle warfare military exercise at the Akiais Jungle Warfare Training School in order to enhance the Ghanaian forces' expertise in dealing with gold smugglers in the African nation. The Ghanaian government position is that France has expertise in this area and that it is in Ghana's national interest to undertake this exercise with them. That the exercise does not in any way undermine the close relation between the US and Ghana, as the training school is in a confined area far from the Burkina border. Inasmuch as I am of the, this is what our brother Cecil said, inasmuch as I am of the view that France is a very imperialist power, no African state should, in actual fact, associate with them. I do believe that the concerns about Ghana being a sellout is probably overblown for the following reasons. This is not a counter-terrorism exercise, which is more sensitive in scope and would be concerning to Burkina Faso and our East brother, given our position on France's support for terrorism. It's true that Ghana does not have a serious problem with smuggling of minerals, and so if they can utilize the expertise of France in such a manner that does not undermine the national interest of Burkina Faso or the ES, then I don't have issues with it, even though I'll be a little bit uneasy about it with a bit of fawning on myself. Me too. Me too. Me too. And remember, like he's saying, it's all about interests. Even Russia comes to Africa for their own interest, the same way China comes to Africa for their own interest. So we don't know what is happening. But either way, we have to make a clear distinction between French destabilizing forces in Ivory Coast or American forces in Borno States or jungle military exercise. But why France, man? If it were me, I would have gone to any other country. Even Burkina Faso is even better than Ghana because these guys have, more expertise. But why? Anyway, okay. All the best, Ghana. You know where my hammer is in my heart. Like that guy for me is doing things. And when we look at this, he's talking about gold smuggling because he wants this thing to benefit the people. So if it's being done in good faith and not in any way to destabilize our brother countries of the ES, I like it. I like it. Going forward, away from all that, we saw China announcing zero tariff policy for 53 countries starting May 1st, 2026. You know what happened? The US has this trade called, it's a kind of free trade with Africa, and it was ending in 2025. That countries in Africa can send their agricultural products to the US without, those trade policies, right? So it was ending last year, 2025. I don't know if it ended. What is it called? I need to remember. Africa trade policy with the USA. Let me see. AGOA, that is African Growth and Opportunity Act, which provides duty-free access for 1,800 products from 32 eligible sub-Saharan African nations. So it was ending in 2025, and although they have passed a legislation in February this month to extend the AGOA program through December 31st, 2026, providing a short reprieve for African exporters. The problem is the strings attached. The strings, attached. Let me see the strings attached. Because you need to do things for the US to allow you to be in this AGOA. And the eligibility criteria. There are things that the US also wants to do in Africa. And there are things that the US want to do here in Africa. For example, you have to allow their second hand clothes to Africa. You don't have to talk about that. That is one. Then there is, there are some products like I think chicken in South Africa, like Malema was talking about some times back. So I think this China is doing this to introduce their own zero tariff. And Chinese President Xi Jinping announced that beginning May 1st, 2026, China will implement a zero tariff policy on imports from 53 African countries, with which it maintains diplomatic relations. This landmark decision is expected to significantly boost African export to China and further strengthen economic ties between Beijing and the continent. China remains Africa's largest trading partner, and this move signals a deepening of trade and investment cooperation. The exception, okay, this is good because 53 countries, US is only 32. It's so good, very good. But one exception, and okay, I don't know the strings attached. I don't know for this one. For the US we know. For China, I don't know. But we have one exception, which is Eswatini, which maintains diplomatic relations with Taiwan rather than Beijing. But either way, we are yet to see. We said it's all about interests. Yeah, it's all about interest. So you cannot say, oh, China is doing good. No, there is something they want, and that's where we are. Going forward, Ethiopia. We talked about Ethiopia and it's growing. It's growing at a very high rate. Like the Prime Minister keeps on saying. Ethiopia is growing at a very high rate, and they keep saying that we need a port because they don't have a navy, because they don't have an access to the sea. It's like the US. We need Venezuela. We need the oil below their ground. In Ethiopia, like we also need a port. They can take Djibouti. They can take Eritrea. Why don't they join with Eritrea and become one country? I wonder. That would be beautiful. That would be good. But I don't think the president of Eritrea or the people of Eritrea would allow that. So last year we saw Ethiopia going to Somaliland, which is part of Somalia, and there was a lot. There was a lot. But anyway, I think Prime Minister Abiy is like Ethiopia is growing impatient and issues a warning. The country of 130 million inhabitants wants to obtain access to sea, and the security and stability of the Horn of Africa depend on Ethiopia obtaining access to the sea. The three options is Eritrea. This guy is saying the historical enemy, but sometimes I think 2 years ago they ended their conflict, and even Ethiopian Airlines started going there. Is Somalia. Ethiopia could benefit from the support of Israel and the United Arab Emirates through Somaliland. However, Turkey, Egypt, and Saudi Arabia are also strengthening their presence in Somalia. Djibouti, it's heavily strengthened by these powers. But the question is, look at Somalia. Look at Somalia alone. We have Israel, we have UAE, we have Somaliland. Okay, through Somaliland. But I know in Somalia we have Turkey, Egypt, Saudi Arabia, the United States. Everybody is there. But you cannot allow your African brother to have a port or to have some place to build their port. Just like Ethiopia just wanted to give you shares in the Ethiopian Airlines, then you could give them just maybe 20 kilometers of the ocean to build their port and to have their navy and all that. But you're saying it's sovereignty. Your African brother. That's the craziest thing I've had to live and experience in my life, because I never expected that. They should just do it. Give them somewhere to have a navy, like you have done to all these foreign countries. Now you know who is trying to broker the deal. That's the president of Turkey, Erdogan, and that's why he was in Ethiopia some few days ago. Yes. Okay, something else is happening. There are a lot of things happen. Like if we don't wake up, it's crazy. We saw there's a university in UK which was returning artifacts to Ghana. Remember? It was it Ghana or Nigeria? Yes, one of the countries. And people were very happy. There were a lot, but they said some they are not going to return. Why do you keep some? And we made a short about that, and I said, why are they returning some? And what is in those artifacts? Because this person has stayed with the artifacts for a whole century, and now they are returning them back. They are returning them back. You don't know what they've done to them because these things are not just artifacts, they are spiritual artifacts. There's something that they carried the spirits of our ancestors. Have you seen Zangbeto, brothers and sisters? Let me show you Zangbeto, right? Zangbeto. Zangbeto. They say in Benin, they say it's the protector of the night. I wish I could play. Yes, this one. This is the Zangbeto. This is the Zangbeto. Let's see if it's going to play. This is the Zangbeto, right? Just a minute with the ads. So this is the Zangbeto. Oh. So in the Zangbeto, they just create these things. You know, this guy is building the Zangbeto. They put nothing but just call the spirits to come in and, you know, like he's putting some article, right? Then he will later now invite the spirits into this thing, and this thing now will start dancing. So the spirits will be dancing inside this thing, and this thing will look like it's living. You know, that's what they do. That's what they do. Now imagine, you see, now this one has started moving. Look at this. It has started moving, right? And this guy, you see, he never puts anything inside. It has started to move. Those are the spirits of the ancestors inside the Zangbeto. We are inside that thing. That is African spirituality, not 101. That is voodoo. It's African spirituality. Then we have our colonizers bringing back our artifacts. You see, they are bringing back our artifacts. Remember, for example, in Nigeria, when they were taking slaves, it was a priest, a Nigerian priest, who would be used to make them drink water from some well, and they would go like crazy. They don't even understand who they are. They don't. Our brothers and sisters who have been taken slaves, they don't know what they are doing. After they drink that water, like completely forget who they are. They are just there. You see. So the same way, they will use our knowledge of the spiritual world, our knowledge to do crazy things to us. We have seen even in South Africa, white people now are becoming Sangoma. And how do you become Sangoma? It's an African thing. So they go there, they pay some Sangoma to a priest to make them a Sangoma. It's the same way. So look at this. When France is deceived, to take a look at the drum they stole for Cote d'Ivoire in 1916, and they have returned this year 2026. How many years are those? Like 110 years, right? They may think it's just a drum. The truth is that it's more than a drum. You see, it's not the same. The dude who copied it changed even the tail. So this is the original one. And if you look at it, there's more. What are these? Okay. And this is what they have returned. So this thing must have something to keep us in the loop. So if the people of Cote d'Ivoire are not careful, this might come to bite them in the ass. They brought back a replica of not the original. Why did they keep the original? I mean, can they just make a replica and keep lying to people that they are originals? Because they are keeping our birthright, our future. They are using our own energies, our own intelligence, spiritual intelligence to keep us in a loop, to keep us being enslaved. African received it. They authenticate it. Reason we need historians. What we need, although we saying we need historians, we also need our priests. Our priests, not the foreign religions priests, African spiritual priests, to remove the spirits that they have put. You see, this one is asking, what is it? Okay, I would ask, what is in it? Because definitely they have put their spirits inside here. We had our spirits, which they took into slavery inside here. Now they have put theirs here to keep controlling us. It's crazy. If you don't believe me, this is African spirituality 101. So let us know, let me know what you think about this in the chat, in the chat. Yes. So going forward, wow. This is Burkina Faso, where the Ministry of Health announced a historic 31% in malaria cases in the country, and this is unheard in any African country. When they start their media campaign against Ibrahim Traore, please remember this. I think this is the Minister of Health, Minister de la Santé, John Robert Lucien Kakuku. This is the Minister of Health, and this guy is telling us that Burkina Faso has managed to reduce malaria cases by 31%. It tells you that the Ministry of Health of Burkina Faso is overworking, not just working, because this never had in many African countries. It's working. Even with the fake mosquitoes that were brought in sometimes last year, they are overworking. And good for the people of Burkina. Wonderful, amazing. Let us know what you think about this. I mean, all we need is to grow Africa this way. Now with people at heart. And it's been a good live stream. We are going to end it with Malcolm X and what he advises us.
If white immigrants can come to this country 50 years ago with nickels and dimes and no education, and come here and pool their little nickels and dimes and no education, and set up little stores, develop these stores into larger stores, develop this into an industry which creates job opportunities for whites. Since Lincoln was supposed to have freed the black man 100 years ago, and today the black man, according to the government economists, has spending power of $20 billion per year. We feel that with the black man spending $20 billion a year, not setting up any businesses, not creating any industry, not creating any job opportunities for his own kind, he's not in a moral position to point the finger today at the white man and tell the white man that he's discriminating against him for not giving him a job in factories that he himself set up. If the black man has $20 billion, and these so-called Negro leaders are such geniuses that they can integrate white restaurants and integrate white factories and force themselves into that which the white man has set up, they should use this same ingenuity to show the black people how to pool our wealth and set up something of our own. And then we won't have to force our way into his anymore. One more thing I would like to point out concerning what he said about 125th Street. We don't waste our time on 125th Street, but you can reach more people in the street who want to change than you can in the bourgeoisie society, the bourgeoisie church, and the bourgeoisie circles. Our program is directed toward the man in the street. So we spend our time in the street, and what we do with that man, instead of trying to change the white man in your mind, make you accept us, we change the mind of the black man and make him accept himself. And as soon as he accepts himself, he'll solve his own problem. He won't be trying to force himself into your factory and into your bedroom and into your kitchen.
These are the words of our brother Malcolm X. Malcolm X was assassinated on 21st February. So it was his commemoration yesterday. But we live to hear his words, like we've just had his words. And this guy, this brother, was a brilliant mind. And you see what he's telling us. I mean, what we need is to wake up our mind. We need to change our African mind because we need to love us. We need to love us and support us. Like if these people are able to go to the US with just nickels, I mean, they had nothing, but they went there and built it. And who do you think was used to build that? They used slaves. Who are the slaves? It was us. It was our brothers and sisters, our ancestors. So they used our ancestors to build that. What if we use ourselves, not for free and not as slaves, just like Ibrahim Traore is doing? We use us to build our Africa. They will even be scared to say we are going to recolonize that world. But now, because it seems like we are doing nothing, they want to colonize us. So may he continue resting in power. Thank you so much for joining me in this live stream. It has been great, and I hope you enjoyed it. We continue doing this every week, maybe 3 times a week or every day if it's possible. Thank you for your continued support. Do not forget to support us by buying us coffee on buymeacoffee.com/African Bar. This is how Buy Me a Coffee looks like. Let me show you. This is our Buy Me a Coffee page. Looks like this. Looks like this. We here. This is the link. This is it. And also, don't forget to buy our much merchandise on Fourth We have our merchandise on Fourth. This is it. All our products are here. Let me show you how it is. Okay. Don't forget to buy our beautiful merchandise. I want to show you how our merchandise looks like. This is it. Look at this. Look at this beauty. This beauty says, and if you look at it, it says Black Winter is coming and we are ready. Just for $67, you can get this, and it will look amazing on you. You see this Traore on those things for making roads, and he has his he has his he has his hand and he's thinking. That is Traore. Then we also have this beautiful Traore lion. Then we have this saying, I'm spiritually gifted. They ask who I was, but if you know, you know. And just go to africanbars.shop.fourthworld.com, and there's a lot of them. Look at all these beautiful. Look at this. Let me show you the cup. It's a cup, Ibrahim Traore cup. This is how it looks like. See, for the fatherland till the last breath. Fatherland or death, right? Then we have more products. We have a lot of them. See, not just my motherland. It's my everything. Cape hats. We have this beautiful hoodie with Ibrahim Traore and the flag of Burkina. We have beautiful. Look at this. Look at that beautiful hoodie. That is Captain Ibrahim Traore African Lion. See, like imagine this. Imagine this in its high quality. Imagine this just for $42. Imagine just for $42, you get this hoodie with Traore, Lion Traore, and it will look so beautiful. And look at it. Come on, guys. Just come on, brothers and sisters. Just for $42, you get this. So thank you so much for watching our stream, and thank you for your continued support. We love you, and we expect to see you in our next stream. Ciao. Have a good one. Have a beautiful week.